Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm going to be doing a Relinquished deck profile. So I'm really excited for this one because this is a super fun deck, and actually one of my first cards when I first started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! A long time ago. I actually been playing since the original Pegasus deck was released, and this actually Relinquished was my first card ever, so I had to build a Relinquished deck. You guys know how it is. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell on there so you can become part of the notification squad, and let's get straight on into this. And I have some awesome tech cards in this deck that really makes it easy to summon Millenniumize or Restrict with the greatest of ease. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Relinquished, which I am not even going to try and read the flavor text. Basically what this card does is once per turn, you can equip a monster your opponent controls to this card, maximum 1, and then if it's going to be destroyed by battle or by card effects, you destroy the card that's equipped to it, and it gains attack and events equal to the monster that's equipped to it. In a nutshell, that's basically what Relinquished does. It's one of the really good, interesting ritual monsters in the game, and I believe, don't hold me to this, it's the only level 1 ritual monster in the entire game. Then we play a single copy of Illusionist Faceless Mage. Illusionist Faceless Mage is if a face-up Eyes Restrict fusion monster or Relinquished you control is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can special summon this card from your graveyard if it was there, or your hand if it was in your hand. And if this card is sent from your field to the graveyard, you can target an Eyes Restrict fusion monster or Relinquished in your graveyard and special summon it. So basically this card just lets us bring back our Relinquished as a recovery play to bring back our Relinquished and our Eyes Restrict monsters. And it's really good to be able to do that. And it can be used as fodder to be able to ritual summon into our Relinquished monsters, or fusion materials into our Eyes Restrict monsters. Then we play 3 copies of Millenniumize Illusionist. Millenniumize Illusionist is an awesome card. Quick effect, you can discard it to target a effect monster your opponent controls and equip that target to an Eyes Restrict or Relinquished monster you control as if it were equipped by that monster's effect. If an Eyes Restrict fusion monster or Relinquished is special summoned, you can add this card from your graveyard to your hand. And it's not optional. You have to add it from your graveyard to your hand, and you can only use the effect of it once per turn. This card is really good and floats so well. I love it as a 3-of. I probably would never not play it as a 3-of in this deck. I play 3 copies of Manju of the 10,000 Hands. Manju of the 10,000 Hands lets us add Relinquished or our Dark Illusion Ritual from our Black Illusion Ritual from our deck to our hand, which is awesome to be able to add those from our deck to our hand. I play 3 copies of Predaplant, Orthus Scorpio. Scorpio is a really good card. Basically, you send a monster from your hand to the graveyard, and then you get to special summon a Darling Cobra. Darling Cobra lets us add from our deck to our hand a polymerization spell or a fusion spell from our deck to our hand, which is awesome because guess what it searches? Relinquished Fusion, which is really cool. And then it also, since it says polymerization, it lets us add super polymerization. So this card is really good. It doesn't say normal spell, so you just says spell card, so that's really cool about this card, and I love being able to play this. I played 2 copies of Kinkaboya because this card is really good to be able to normal summon and then bring back your level 1 Relinquished or Millenniumize Restrict that's been properly summoned. Just put it back on the board, and then maybe link them away or something like that to be able to go into a different play. And then for my Kaiju package, I play a single copy of Gamma Seal, Sticky Strings, Dust, Raiden, Doggeran, and Thunder King. I play a big Kaiju package in this deck because basically what you want to do is distribute your opponent's monsters with your Kaijus and then take the Kaiju as Relinquished, Millenniumize, or Thousand Eyes Restricts materials to make them really big to be able to swing at your opponent. Really good effect. Really good effect to be able to just take them from your opponent. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. The spells is where this deck really starts to excel and really starts to show you how quickly we can actually get Relinquished on the field to be able to put it, to use. Cool fact, if you guys don't know what Relinquished's name is in the OCG, it's actually called Sacrifice. Pretty neat, huh? So then we play 3 copies of Relinquished Fusion. I do play the 3 copies because I feel like I want to go into Relinquished as quickly as possible. But basically this card lets us fusion summon a Eyes Restrict fusion monster from our extra deck. And by banishing materials from our hand, field, or graveyard, during your main phase you can banish this card from your graveyard. Then target 1 effect monster your opponent controls and equip that target to an Eyes Restrict fusion monster or Relinquished. You can only control as if it were equipped to the monster by the effect. So you have to equip it as if it was equipped to the monster by its own effect. And then I play 3 copies of Instant Fusion because you want to be able to get your copies of Millenniumize Restrict on the field as quickly as possible, stop your opponent from hand trapping you and stuff like that. 3 copies of Black Illusion Ritual. Black Illusion Ritual is awesome. It just takes a level 1 monster to summon your Relinquished. Literally any monster can be used as a material for the Black Illusion Ritual, which is awesome. And this card is really, really good. 3 copies of Pre-Preparation of Rites. Pre-Preparation of Rites lets us search our Black Illusion Ritual and our Relinquished. This card is really good to be able to use to search both of them as well. 3 copies of Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. Interrupted Kaiju Slumber is awesome. This deck basically destroys all monsters on the field or sends all monsters to the graveyard. Then you special summon a Kaiju on your opponent's side of the field and your side of the field. You usually want to give them the big one if you're going to get out a Relinquished and then gobble it up to make it really big and then give yourself like a Dolgaran. Or if you want to be a little bit safe, you can give your opponent the Dolgaran and give yourself the big one and then take the Dolgaran and equip it to your Relinquished to have a 3,000 attack point Relinquished and another Kaiju on your side of the field. So Interrupted Kaiju Slumber at 3 is just ridiculous in this deck, and it's super, super good. 3 copies of Call by the Grave because I don't want to get hand trapped. If you feel like you're doing enough hand trap stopping with Millenniumize, you could potentially drop Call by the Grave to play Ash Blossom. And then the MVP of the entire deck is your copies of Super Polymerization. Now this card is bonkers in this deck. I cannot emphasize that enough. This makes going into Millenniumize Restrict so easy because Millenniumize Restrict is generic. It takes a Relinquished and an effect monster. So if you have Relinquished in your hand and you have that in your hand, you can instantly activate it and then fusion summon one of your opponent's monsters and then summon this and look at your opponent like, yeah, I win. So that card is really, really, really broken in this deck. And it's one of the decks that you can actually really utilize Super Polymerization because this card is so good. And then really quickly to mention to you guys, this deck is a 43 card deck. If you want to drop some cards out of it to bring it down, you could potentially, like I said, drop the Call by the Graves. If you feel like you're already stopping your opponent enough with Millenniumize Restrict because this card can actually stop hand traps. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, if I can get these cards to work with me, for the extra deck, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Millenniumize Restrict. You could probably get away with 2, but I've got 3, so I wanted to play 3. Its effect is that it takes a Relinquished monster and 1 effect monster, and then once per turn when your opponent monster activates an effect, quick effect, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls, or in their graveyard and equip that target to this card. You control, and then it also has the ability that you can target, it gains attack and defense equal to the equipped monster's attack and defense, and then that monsters with that name cannot attack and also has their effects negated, and the activated effects are negated as well. So basically, if you stop your opponent's one big combo piece with this card, you're going to win the duel. This card is such a good control card that I feel like you need it as a 3 of, because you always want to have a Millenniumize Restrict on the field when you're playing this deck, along with like a Relinquished and a Kaiju to be able to just stop your opponent. And you can even OTK your opponent with this deck really easily. Then we play 2 copies of Thousand Eyes Restrict. I just played the 2. It's instant fusion target. You don't summon it as much in this deck. You usually just summon the Millenniumize Restrict first, and then go from there. You have no way of actually fusion summoning the Thousand Eyes Restrict because we don't play Thousand Eyes Idol or any King of the Swamps or anything like that. So it's a little bit hard to go into this outside of the copy of, what's it called? Outside of the copy of like instant fusion. So this card is good, but it's not great in this deck because you can't fusion summon it. If you're going to fusion summon it, you can in this deck, but you're going to usually just instant fusion it away and then, or instant fusion on the field and then link it away for Link Rebo. For our Super Polymerization targets besides Millenniumize, I play a single copy of the Predaplant that takes 3 dark monsters because we play so many dark monsters in our deck. It's not that hard to put this on the field. Dragostapelia is really easy to go into this deck because you have so many fusion monsters and you can use your fusion monsters instead of your opponents if you want to. Then use one of their effect monsters and it combos really well with the Predaplant that takes 3 because you can go into that. You can go into this, put a Predacounter on your opponent's monsters and then go into this and kind of switch the deck over to like Predaplants. Starving Venom Fusion Dragon is another option for the copies of super polymerization, and Mud Dragon is another super poly target. Basically, you're going to super poly the crap out of your opponent in this deck. Boral Sword, just to OTK, because you have the option to make it. Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos, you don't have to play this, but it's an option. It's really easy to link a Kaiju away with like a King Kaboya and a Relinquished that you've already used to gobble up something. And then instantly go into this and make it immune to a lot of stuff and be able to OTK your opponent with just the Blackluster Soldier. Unicorn to bounce stuff. Phoenix to pop spells and traps, Cerberus to pop monsters, and then a copy of Linkuriboh. You could potentially bump the Linkuriboh up to 2 if you want to drop the Blackluster Soldier, if you don't feel like you're comfortable playing the Blackluster Soldier. And I've even thought about dropping Thousand Eyes Restrict down to 1 in this deck, and putting in something like a Trispania or something like that, because I'm not that concerned about my own personal back row. So that's it for the deck, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Definitely tell me what you think of this video down in the comments down below. Relinquished is one of the coolest ritual monsters in the entire game, and Thousand Eyes Restrict and Thousand Eyes or Millennium Eyes Restrict are awesome in this game. And I'm really excited that you can actually play them as an entire deck without, having to go a really weird route about it with your Relinquished. Because it actually flows really well. So it's basically Kaiju Relinquished. So anyways, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Definitely hit that bell down there so you can become part of the notification squad. And I'll see you guys in the next video. See you around, guys.